I need a couple of games for my shelf for this one. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? It's Too Human. Just kidding. I'm not going to use Too Human. Okay, I need these two, and I need you, and I need you. Perfect. All right. You guys ready? Borderlands. Destiny. Division 1 and 2. What do these games all have in common? They are looter shooters. This is a genre that is fairly recent by today's standards. It's essentially the idea of Diablo where you're playing the game and you're getting loot to create a better character to do better things more efficiently, but with guns instead of things like swords and spells and stuff. These are all foundational games to the genre, right? And the thing about the genre is it's got its haters because the big players being these guys, the Division, Destiny, Borderlands, have soured people because these games are built on slot machines, essentially. And so some games, like Borderlands, are very, very generous with their loot. And when you get guns and armor and stuff, it comes out like a slot machine. Ooh, candy. Games like Destiny are much more fun to play, but they're much stingier about what they give you. And the Division 2 is kind of all over the place. And I've been playing the Division 2 a lot lately. I've been very curious about this. There's a fella named Marco Style who made a video a few years ago that was going very in-depth on the Division 2 because it has been having a bit of a comeback. Essentially, the Division 3 is in development. The Division 2 is still receiving updates finally after a few years of quiet. So I was curious. I was curious about Division 2. Destiny 2 is essentially dead, and I'm sad about that. But I wanted to see what the Division was all about. And I've been wanting to see it for a while because the Division 1, I actually did pick up on launch. This is not my launch copy, but it looked like this. I picked it up on launch, and I played it for about 5 or 6 hours, and I was like, Destiny is just better than this in every way. And the Division 2, I thought would be more of the same. And it's actually not. It's actually much more than the Division 1 in a very impressive way. But the problem is I'm probably about 10 hours in. I'm still doing the campaign, and I'm getting bored. Because there's a few things that looter shooters can't seem to get down that makes them just a very difficult genre to love. And the first thing is, of course, the world building. I think when you create a game like this, you're probably starting with the system, right? You're starting with like the actual loot systems because that's the important thing. That's your entire economy of the game. So you need to figure out like how are we going to give players weapons, armor, gear in a way that feels rewarding and makes them want to play the game and pull the slot machine lever while also not doing too much so that they get everything they need immediately and stop playing, but also not too little so they get frustrated and stop playing. And it's always been a tightrope of that. Every single game has had some kind of difficulty figuring out how do we give players the right amount of loot. And there's all different kinds of systems that have been enacted to try to figure that out. There's been crafting, there's been targeted farming drops where you can select the weapon you want and it's higher probability of getting that. There's, okay, you can get the weapon, but the perks on the weapon, the way that it works might be a little bit different. So maybe you want to rerun it to get that best roll. And these are all things that are fun, but also it took a long time to get them to work correctly. Like a long time. This genre has really been really relevant for about almost 20 years now. And there's probably other games in it that I'm not even thinking of that are maybe even doing it better. But these are the big ones that I have played is Borderlands, Destiny, Division. And I just don't know what the answer is. I don't know how to get all of that stuff to players in a way that feels rewarding but not stingy. I don't know. I really don't. A lot of times will say something along the lines of the gameplay is the content, really, right? And I try to really hammer that home, especially with these kinds of games, because the game should be fun first and foremost, right? But I also think that the world itself needs to be interesting for me to live in order for me to care about spinning the slot machine again and again and again. So if the game's not fun and the world isn't interesting to live in, people aren't going to really care. Part of why Destiny was so popular was the enduring mystery of the first game. We weren't sure what was going on. We didn't know what the darkness was. We didn't know what was inside the Traveler. And now we know all those things, and it's less mysterious. But the game was still so fun to play, and there was still interesting stuff going on in the world that people continued to play until those things went away. The Division doesn't have the interesting world part down. I think it's an interesting scenario. I don't think it's an interesting world, right? It is a Ubisoft game, so it feels like a Ubisoft game where you're like getting Marvel quipped at, and there's a bunch of characters, and they have very generic names, and oh, I'm the angry character because I lost my leg and my daughter's missing, and then you soften them up over time. They're like, I don't know if I trust you, Division folk, and then you're like, I'm literally a super soldier, and I'll fix all your problems. And you fix all their problems, and they're like, you know what? Maybe you're all right. And it's like, it's not a good trope, man. It's not a good trope at all. So that makes it difficult to want to power through the game. Because the other thing that I have to ask with looter shooters is, why am I still powering through campaigns? Why? Why are we still doing campaign leveling this way? I do not want to pretend that these are single-player games with multiplayer things. They are multiplayer-centric focuses, and they are endgame-centric focuses. So Borderlands, I think, can do this very well, because Borderlands genuinely feels like a single-player or a co-op game built first for that, with an endgame tied on. That's really nice. But Destiny and The Division always make you do this thing where you have to play the campaign, you have to level your character, and you have to go through all these scenarios that you just don't care about. And again, Destiny can do it a little bit better because you've got characters like Cade 6, who in the Final Shape campaign were really great to see again and were done very well. Ikora and Zavala were really great in that, right? Like, it was a good story in the campaign, but I have to get all three of my characters through it, and that was not fun. Oh, you can just buy a story skip. Oh, can I? Curious. But my issue really is, I don't understand why we're still starting with these campaigns. Like, why am I still playing through a campaign in the Division 2? And I know you're going to say, well, can't you skip to the DLC, the Warlords of New York DLC? Yes, you can. But pretty much everybody that I've watched videos for and read threads on has said you should start with the base game, because there's a lot of systems you have to go through and understand, and you won't get that if you start with a character skip. And I'm pretty intuitive. I feel like I could probably figure it out, but I wanted to be smart, and I listened to these people, and so I'm like 10 hours in, I'm like, man, I just don't care, man. I've been fighting the hyenas and the what are they called? The men? I don't know, the other guys. The Suns. I've been fighting those guys, and I've seen kind of everything that they can do, and I'm getting kind of tired of it. I'm going to quote, I'm going to have to do some editing there. There's a Morty quote from Rick and Morty. Yeah, I'm going to quote Rick and Morty. Oh my God. You know what I mean? But Morty at one point says, I feel like we should start our stories where they begin, not where they get interesting. So I get why you need to have a campaign there, because you need to start where the story begins. Okay, but if these are endgame centric games, how is it that we still haven't figured out how to build the campaign into essentially being an on-ramp for the end game? I don't feel like we need to keep doing this dance. If the Division 3 comes out and it's got another campaign where it's like, we need to retake Seattle or whatever city they're going to pick, and it's the same thing over and over and over again, I can't do it. I can't do it, man, because I already know it's not going to be an interesting enough story for me to care. So, like, yeah, give me a beginning and give me a tutorial, and then let's just get to the end game. You know, leveling doesn't matter in these games. Borderlands makes leveling matter. The Division does not. The Division is just, all right, gear score go up. You get it? Do you get it? Do you get the item level yet? Which item level isn't even a thing in endgame. Item level doesn't even matter. They switch it to a different thing. So why do I care about item level right now? You see what I mean? I want to like the game. I do. I'm enjoying the game. I think it looks beautiful. And I'm playing on Xbox One X. It's like The Order, where I'm playing it and I'm like, man, I don't know if games need to look better than this. This looks really good. Runs pretty well. But I just can't keep caring when you don't in your story, right? You can build an engaging story and you can build good character building into the game, because Borderlands does that. When you level up in Borderlands, it's your character leveling up and getting more perks, getting cooler things. You're actively making your build, versus Division, where it's like, okay, you can use a better gun. And it feels the same as the other gun you've already used 1,000 times, but the item level is higher, right? Like, I'm not excited about fighting a honey badger again, because I've already found the honey badger like 5 times. And again, I'm not even at end game. So what's it going to be like when I get there? And it's like, oh boy, another honey badger. You know, and again, I get the items and the gear are going to be different, but it's almost like, do I need to start an end game character before I fully give up on this thing? Do I need to be like, okay, fine, I'll give it this go? But I don't know. I just don't think that's the coolest way to go about it. And this is the issue that looter shooters have, right? Is they're either too stingy or they're too generous, and they keep making us play these terrible campaigns that aren't good, that nobody enjoys, with a few exceptions. Like Witch Queen hit it, Final Shape hit it, but everything else in Destiny's campaign collection is really not. Even Forsaken, I did not think Forsaken was very good. I really didn't, right? And all of Destiny's campaigns have really just felt like attempts to emulate Halo's campaigns. That's what they feel like to me. Honest read. So I don't know, man. I feel like looter shooters are always going to have these problems where we're going to be forced to play campaigns that suck to get to an end game that will have multitudes of issues that will have to get ironed out over time. And then we're going to have to try to convince our friends to play them 5 years down the line and be like, no, now it's really good. I promise. And I just can't keep doing this, man. I'm in my early 30s, you know? I can't keep making the case for your game. No, I promise you it's good. You just have to slog through 30 hours of the game so you understand how it works, just for them to throw out some of the systems that you need to then go into end game until we get bored. Like, start build crafting early. Start end game activities early. Make the game built around end game. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off base. You can tell me in the comments if you think that there's a problem with this. I'm not a game dev, so maybe there's a reason. I just don't see a path forward for looter shooters if this is how it's going to go. All right. Thanks for watching. This is day 14 of recording a video every single day. Sorry about that. I was cooling off a little bit. We are at 2 weeks now of recording a video every day. I hope you're enjoying them. The best thing you can do to support this, if you like me, you like my content, is watch my playlist that has all of my videos in it. Like and subscribe is always good too. I'm doing this for me, and I'm enjoying it. Thank you so much for watching.